It's 6 o'clock and across the state, electoral officials in polling places just like this one in inner Sydney will be closing their doors and readying themselves for the exacting task ahead. The votes they tally by hand are processed by the New South Wales Electoral Commission and end their journey here at the ABC Election Centre, where expert technology and sharp political nous join forces to give you tonight's fastest and by far most accurate election count. To make sense of those numbers, our expert panel includes two of the state's most respected MPs, the Liberal Party's Transport Minister Gladys Berejiklian and Labor's former Deputy Leader Carmel Tebbit. I'm Chris Ullman, your host for tonight.
And I'm Bridget Glanville. I've been on the campaign trail every day. Tonight I'll be talking to candidates across the state in the most crucial electorates at the very tipping point of this election contest. And of course, to keep us all at the very front of the count, the ABC's election analyst Anthony Green.
And tonight we're taking a direct feed of results from the Electoral Commission. We'll be getting those figures booth by booth, crunching them through the ABC's election computer system, turning them into the best and most immediate trends. We'll know the result before anybody else, we hope, and we'll be publishing those figures to the internet as well. It's going to be an interesting night, a big change from last election, which was so one-sided.
But of course we can see these sorts of effects of elections. It was just after the Queensland election result where we saw essentially a move against Tony Abbott in his own party room. There was a spill motion then. Carmel Tebbit, how big a factor do you believe that Tony Abbott was in this election campaign? What were people telling you on the booths?
No doubt an issue. Tony Abbott is very unpopular in the community and people certainly were communicating that. But I think you need to be careful not to overplay what a factor it is, but it's significant. If it wasn't significant, I think we would have seen him playing a stronger role in the Coalition's campaign, and we certainly didn't see that.
And if it wasn't significant, you wouldn't spend advertising dollars on it?
Absolutely.
Well, I think Labor very much tried to make it that, but it wasn't an issue at all. We ran a very strong campaign based on state issues. We've been in government 4 years. We had a strong record of what we've done in government. And of course, our forward agenda, our vision for New South Wales is what we ran on. And we're confident that tonight that's what people are casting their votes over. Do they want Mike Baird as Premier tomorrow morning, or do they want to see Luke Foley Premier?
But you have to say it is unusual to see a launch of a campaign, and we've seen quite a few of them now with Tony Abbott as Prime Minister, where the Prime Minister doesn't end up saying anything or is not there.
And also didn't talk to the media, ushered in and
the
ushered
Prime
out.
Minister was a very welcome guest at our launch. He sat in the front row, I shook his hand, and we were very happy to have him there, as was Mike, and the Premier specifically acknowledged the Prime Minister. We're grateful that he was there. And
I should say that the ABC encourages the responsible use of alcohol, but there are apparently drinking games based on the things that you say, Anthony.
Yes, it's terribly embarrassing.
What are those drinking games?
What are they?
If I make an error, if the computer plays up, there was also a bet whether, we'll see how it goes tonight.
as long as it's not based on what we say, it's fine.
If you are enjoying that, then enjoy it with a ginger beer, is what we would say.
But there's actually a swing to the National Party. Now, of course, this will be decided by Queen Bian, which is the dominant part of the electorate, but the first small figures are very encouraging for the National Party. Now, the next thing, I just want to do this quickly because we're so cautious about swings sometimes, and big swings, you get distracted. At the moment, if I look at the seats we're definitely giving away to one side or the other, I've got the Coalition up to 48. At the stage, we're seeing with just 2.5% of the vote counted, we've got the National Party, the Coalition winning the election. We've got them to 45 already. Now,
No doubt that 2011 saw our vote absolutely decimated. To lose seats like Granville, Prospect, I mean, that was very disheartening for Labor voters. We would be hopeful that some of those seats come back to us. I think we'll do well in Londonderry, very good candidate there. Prospect, I would hope that we'd do well in, but we won't see it all come back, not this time.
That's right. Thanks, Chris. Also, the state's longest-serving treasurer. Michael Egan, you kicked off the first attempt to privatise electricity in this state in 1997 under Bob Carr. Yep. What do you think of Luke Foley's campaign against it?
Well, I was very disappointed by it. I would have thought the Labor Party had grown up on that issue. For 2 decades now, the Labor Party has been trying to convince itself that it could switch votes, it could convert Tory votes to Labor votes by opposing privatisation. Telstra, for example, on 2 occasions my Labor colleagues told me that we were going to beat John Howard because of the Telstra privatisation. That didn't happen. And so I think the in 1997, the fact that we didn't privatise the electricity industry was truly a lost opportunity.
So Mike Baird is right when he says privatising it is good for New South Wales?
Yes, it is, although he certainly exaggerated the benefits. But
And Chris Minns joins us now from Cogra. We should say welcome to the Bear Pit.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you.
How do you think, why do you think you were successful tonight? What do you put it down to?
Well, we worked hard. It was a team effort, and we worked hard. It was a team effort, and we basically put in 12 months' worth of work, and it's nice to see the results pay off on election day.
And what do you think were the issues at play in your electorate?
Electricity privatisation was a big issue, and it was a difficult seat because there was a very popular member in Cherie Burton, and first-term candidates are always going to find it tough, particularly as Cherie had done such a long period in office, 16 years. I had to really get out and meet electors across Cogra and introduce myself to them for the first time.